can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Guess what? Here we are.
Here we are.
I think I want a t-shirt that says victim no mo. Victim no mo.
Yeah, I want one that says let that shit go and grow.
We can do that. I think that's our new thing. We'll have a whole product line of realistic affirmations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I spent a lifetime going, I am lovable. I am a money magnet. I'm not saying that doesn't work for people. It didn't work for me. Mindset wasn't quite right. But I'm good now.
We're going to talk about mindset. That's what today is, to betrayal. Trust and betrayal. And, there's, and I will find it while I get to it, because I meant to have it already fixed so I could go to it, but I don't have it right now. I don't have it up where we can see it, but my friend Bernie Berlin put this on her page today. She shared it on her Instagram. Trust is earned, respect is given, loyalty is demonstrated. Betrayal of any one of those is to lose all three. Which I liked what that said, and I sent it to you this morning, but you have a different take on trust and what that is. What about, let's just unpack earning trust.
Well, depending on a person's life experiences, gauges whether or not we have the mindset that others have to earn our trust. Mm-hmm. We come from a less self-critical place when we trust until there's a reason not to trust. And then we work towards speaking why that trust has been breached or broken and finding a bridge to trust again. And then there becomes not so much earning, but reframing and restructuring. The word earn itself almost puts, well, it doesn't almost, it puts the opposite person, whether they have done betrayed or not, in a disadvantage right off the bat. I've heard so many people say, well, I don't trust anybody till they earn it. Well, I mean, if people haven't betrayed you, why should they have to earn it? They can just be genuinely good people, right?
I never thought to make a new relationship pay for the debt somebody else accrued. Mm-hmm. We are setting ourselves up to shut everyone else off. Now, you can spend the rest of your life not having a relationship, and that's fine. If that's your boat, you can get in it and go around the world. But that's not what we were created for.
Absolutely. And truth be told, if that's your mode of operation, you can get in that boat, but it's probably just going to float. It's not really going to take you anywhere. You're just going to keep seeing the same patterns, the same scenery over and over and over. It's not going to take you around the world, because that requires us being willing to put ourselves out there. And some people don't want to do that. Maybe don't want to do that's a little harsh. Some people aren't in a position because they have been burnt so many times. But we have to look at what's a common denominator in that, if we're one of those logs on the fire that keeps getting burnt, we have to be accountable for how we're showing up, and then stop inviting those people that are burning us. Now there's a concept, huh?
we did get a comment from Wayne. First of all, Wayne, it's good to see you. Glad to have you here. He says he's having some issues with freeze ups, and we are. I don't know why. I think we're having some weather issues that are affecting it today. We're having a few of those. We've gotten kind of used to just hang in there. It'll unfreeze.
Yeah. When you freeze, I just sit here and go, because I know you're saying something fabulous, and I'm just agreeing with you ahead of time.
Working on that. We're going to work on that, and I have been working on it. Bless Spectrum's heart, I've been working with them, and we're trying to fix it from my end. So we're hoping that everybody else can play along, and we'll get there.
We will.
And, we're going to expand our brand just a little bit. And Teri, now, when we start talking about trust and betrayal, let's start unpacking the betrayal suitcase.
Okay.
When someone betrays you, what are some things that you can do? Okay, cheating in a relationship. It could be betraying you for the promotion at work. Someone who was working with you ends up working against you, sabotaging you. They get the promotion, you don't. You get fired, they keep the job. How do you work through that?
First off, finding out, again, what your role in it was. That doesn't mean placing blame on yourself, but it means looking at what your role in it was and just being clear about that, right? Also, looking for the benefit in it and not taking things personal. That's a tricky one because as human beings, we seem to have designed ourselves, because I don't think the all, be it that us all, the great Oz, God himself, said, hey, I'm going to create you guys to like be skeptical of everybody. Wrong answer. That's not how that happened. But I do think that we have created ourselves to be in a place where we don't necessarily want to trust, and then when that's been broken or betrayed, then we don't know how to get out of that. One of the biggest things is not taking it personal. It feels like it's happening in real time to us in that moment.
It does. It truly does. And it's hard to get past that hurt. You know, if you get cheated on a relationship, you assume everyone that you come in contact with is a cheater from then on. If you are hurt in a work situation, you carry that with you, and that's heavy baggage. And let's talk about some tools in taking that betrayal suitcase, some tools in getting rid of that. Let's just like do a 1, 2, 3. And we talk a lot about journaling. We talk like, I have not found that on my farm. I have an animal to teach me trust. I have a blind steer, and everyone asked me, why in the world did you say yes? Bertie Berlin, who actually gave us the subject for today, she has an animal rescue, and she sent me Stevie's picture, and I said, he's got to live with me. And I said, he will teach me how to trust. Watching this animal who was born sightless navigate happily around a pasture and I've learned that he trusts that his food will be there. He lets me know when he's hungry. And I thought that is a tool to learn trust, is to let people know what you need.
Absolutely.
And it will appear.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. Advocating for ourselves, letting people know what our needs are. And if those needs aren't met, then before we jump into, well, they don't care about me, they don't love me, they're trying to stab me in the back. If the setting is conducive for this, then finding out why those needs aren't met, right? Like, and we're talking about basic we'll just use work environment as a need or as an example. Having that conversation. Sometimes those conversations can feel prickly in the beginning, but having a prickly conversation that lasts 5, 10, 15 minutes is way better than the emotional sludge or the jello that we jog through for months and weeks and years after that with the woulda, shoulda, coulda, they don't like me, and putting another brick on that wall that separates us from our true self. Because we do that with self-betrayal. Once someone betrays us, rather than, getting to the bottom of it in a very, as I like to say, compassionately detached way, which means that we're not bringing our anger and our ego and all of that. We're just really showing up and saying, what's the deal? Why did this happen? A lot of people that find themselves in relationships and there's been a betrayal, whether it's a physical betrayal, an emotional betrayal, a financial betrayal, whatever it is, people who have not been betrayed often seem to have there's a I don't want to say an effortless, but there's an ease to working through things, even though they can be a little prickly. People who have found themselves betrayed frequently have a much more challenging time working through that because it becomes personal.
If you have found yourself in a situation in a work, no matter where the betrayal has been, if you find yourself as the new person in the scenario, what is a tool you can take into that relationship? Should you point out, look, I know you've had issues. I know that you have trouble trusting, but how do you say, I'm going to be loyal? How do you, and for lack of a better word, how do you prove loyalty?
I don't prove it. I'm not, I don't prove loyalty. You show up with your honor, your integrity, and your character, and you just be you. Now, there are going to be some people that in you being you, they're going to say, well, I can't trust you. Well, is that a fact or a feeling? Have I done something that has offended you in such a way, or show me the betrayal? Because sometimes a betrayal to one person may really be a communication misunderstanding to the other person. And so, there's so many different layers to that. So yes, if you show up as the new person in the situation, first I would never say, I know you got issues, because that's going to be a shit show right there. Don't say that. But, if those red flags are already showing up early on in a relationship, where a new friendship or a new intimate relationship, you're starting to feel like, gosh, I got to prove myself to this person. I just want to show up and live, right? If you haven't done anything, then being able to sit down and go, let's talk about this.
Right.
What are the feelings coming up for you? And here's what I'm feeling when you say this. When you show up this way, here's how I hear that. And sometimes it's just a matter of, I'm scared. I'm afraid. I don't want to be hurt again. Well, that goes back to that mindset that we've talked about many, many times. If you don't want to be hurt again, then stop thinking you're going to be hurt again.
What you think about, you bring about.
Exactly. Energy follows thought.
To repair yourself for a new good relationship, okay, learn what your feelings are, know how to ask for what you need. There are many, many people who go through their lives need because they want to be the one who provides for everyone else, but they don't allow anyone to provide for them. That is not a relationship. That is codependency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we can fool ourselves into saying, but I'm happy. But the truth of it is when you actually take off that Batman or Superwoman or Wonder Woman cape, and you've trained everybody that you can take care of everything. And then they don't show up for you because they don't really know what to do for you because you've never accepted or allowed help in the past. We can't get mad at them for standing off to the side and going, I don't know, they got it under control.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. We've had a lot of people who are responding today that are saying that technology is not being kind today. So we do apologize for that. I will take this show after we finish and I will fix what I can and put it up again on our pages, but turbulence. So to make sure that that's there. And I also am creating an audio an audio version of our program. And we're expanding the brand just a little bit because we're getting so many questions. And a lot of people have said, "You look, I'm there every week." And I know Elizabeth's there every week. And she
Mm-hmm.
brought Wayne. And let's see who else is here. Candy is here. And Candy's here pretty much every week. A lot of folks have checked in, and we appreciate you being there. We appreciate you sending us your comments. Teri, have you had some questions this week? Have you had some people with some things, some issues that we can't say issues?
Never. I don't have folks with issues. I have folks with opportunities.
See, look at you. Look at
Hey,
you.
I had somebody one day say, and I'm just going to frame it and say they meant it in a loving way because that's how I choose to see it. But they said, why do you, and this is the exact, why do you have to see things positive all the time? Just like that. I don't have to see things positive all the time. I just choose not to inflate the negativity around something. So I see it with acceptance. I went out to the car today and I'd park under a tree. Birds had pooped all over the car. The car looked horrible. Am I going to gripe and complain? No, birds poop. My car was there. Move the car, trim the tree. Those are the facts. Or I could go, and rant and rave. Why? It's why.
I got tickled because I took in 3 roosters this week. They needed a place to go. The owner loved them. They were raised as pets from little tiny babies, and he loved them. And one of them was very traumatized when he got here. And I mean, it was a bloodbath. I mean, I got it. That rooster did not go easily into its new home. And dear to me said that would be fried chicken for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, well, when someone hurts me, I don't eat them. you know, when it's like that, I go, how do we work together? And I knew that this rooster came into my life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes into our life to teach us something, everything, or it wouldn't have come into your life. So what was I supposed to learn? And do you know, 24 hours later, after I showed him a nice perch in the chicken house where he could go, and introduced him to Linda and Mavis, and Diane, the hens, he was okay. He's like, there's ladies here. Yeah, this is not such an awful place. Sometimes we have to give the new people in our lives a chance to get acquainted that it's good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it sounds like he acclimated well. So he's getting along in his new environment. Now, if he were going after them constantly and there were constant issues, then you'd have to separate them, right? That's no different than what we do if we find ourselves in a situation, in an environment with another person where we're acclimating or assimilating or getting to know one another, and it's and everybody has their own baggage, so we have to be mindful that some baggage comes on wheels, and some of it they strap on their back, and other ones roll, or you got to lug it behind you and carry it. So it's all different. And giving ourselves that grace in order to just be, I want to get to know these people. And getting to know individuals allows us the gift and opportunity to get to know ourselves better as individuals. And if you're in contact with someone who continually wants to create doubt, strife, and conflict, then you get to choose if you remain in that environment, relationship, or move on It's not a weakness to move on. It's not that they're a flawed person to move on. It's just that it's not a fit. If you're putting a puzzle together and you come up with one piece and it looks like it's close to that piece, but it's not, and you start cramming it in there, do you just force that puzzle piece and go get a hammer and, force it in there? No, it's not a fit. You try and you try. And
I do.
then
I do. I've been very guilty of doing that. I have forced the puzzle piece. I've done that. And you know what? The new me has discovered I don't have to.
No.
And the puzzle doesn't even have to be finished today.
Right. Right. And the puzzle doesn't actually have to get finished. What's that?
Yeah. Well, what you said doesn't have to be finished.
No.
At all.
Girl, I got started working on the puzzle at the beginning of COVID. I said, I'm going to do this puzzle. I'm going to just show everybody that you can just take time out for yourself and do something you haven't done in a while. Well, I should have picked an easier puzzle because this dang thing had a ton of sunflowers in it. And I was like, what was I thinking? Like, there's not even a pattern to this. It's just a bunch of sunflowers. I worked on that thing for a solid week, a little bit at a time. And I got about halfway through. And then one night I went in there and I looked at it and I went, I did that my daughter's been doing the Marie Kondo thing. So shout out to Marie Kondo, clearing the clutter out of your life. I looked at that thing and I said, this does not spark joy. And I just pushed it all back in the box and I took it to the office and I rehomed it. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and fight and go, I've got to finish this puzzle. No, I don't. It's a puzzle. I don't have to put myself in that place.
That's it. Yeah, that's something that we've been told a lot, that we somehow have, if you start something and you don't finish it, you're a quitter. No, if you start something and you don't finish it because it was not for you, it is okay to move on, and you do not have to fight things to the bitter end. I've watched people fail in a business that they got into and realized, this is not what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You're not okay. If you do something for 2 years and you go, you know what? Not loving this. You're moving to something else. Let somebody else do what they love.
Sure. I had a job that I loved for the first few years. The last few years, I loved the people I worked with, but I didn't love the job. And the way I looked at that was I was leaving that job and someone else who was going to be right and perfect for it was going to come along and get that job.
Mm-hmm.
And it has, to me, I mean, that works for me. Maybe that means I'm Susie Sunshine. I don't know. But, I don't think that's a positive way of looking at it. I just think it's what works. So looking at choosing to see, it's not that I think we choose to see positive. I just don't want to see, I choose not to create more mental clutter, mental rubbish, Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what comes around when we get into the betrayal part of this with people, is that when we feel betrayed, suddenly it's not about the situation that happened with this person. We get like that big long plastic rake out and we start raking in all the betrayals that have ever happened. And suddenly this molehill becomes a mountain of betrayal. And the person that, whether they knowingly betrayed us or unknowingly betrayed us, they are put at an unfair position, because there's no way they can claw their way out of, or rationalize their way out of, or apologize their way out of someone else's karmic debt that has been done.
I love that we talk about the karmic debt that is out there, and that's another important tool to take a look at what we've got, and instead of making the pile. Okay, our first tip was tell everybody, voice what you need, voice what you want. 2, don't make someone else have to make up for everything that's ever been done bad. When the new person comes in, they do not ride a white horse. Well, in my case, they might, but that is not the reason to be with that person. Number 3, instead of piling up all of the list of betrayals that someone has to make up for, I want you to write down every person that has never let put that list down there. And I will almost guarantee that when you start looking at betrayals, that the list of people who've been there for you will outweigh the people who have betrayed you. Now, it's really tough if you've got a mother figure or a father figure that has betrayed you in a foundational way. But 9 times out of 10, there is someone along the way, a teacher, a neighbor, a person at the Girls and Boys Club that has shown up for you. And you know what? They didn't betray you. Maybe
Right.
Sean O'Shea is watching today. So hi, Sean. I'm glad that you're here. Don't be in such a hurry to throw out everybody. Nobody is good.
Well, and here's the other thing to that, Devon. If you make your list and you recognize that there's been just 2 or 3 people that have not betrayed you, but everybody else that you have brought into your life from an adult, obviously family stuff, we don't bring them into our lives. We're brought into their life. But friendships and bosses and coworkers and all of that stuff, the other individuals that we bring into our life, we have to take accountability for, are they doing the betraying or are we betraying ourselves by continually bringing these people into our life? Because if we have that, I'm going to fix the world one person at a time mentality, or I'm going to save the world, or I'm going to be a people pleaser, we're the one doing the betraying. And let's face it, we don't like that sometimes. We don't like to be the person that wants to be the helper, I'll say the helper, the healer, the fix all, the do all, and then find out that, we feel betrayed all the time. People who aren't healthy enough to show up. So what do we think they're going to do?
It's because a lot of us look for a project.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we have schooled ourselves, is that we deserve a project. Because if we get a project in the form of a person and we can fix that project, then they won't leave us because they'll be so indebted to us.
Well, get a model car, learn to salsa dance, take up a hobby, because humans were not created.
That puzzle.
Right. Humans were not created to be fixed in relationships. First off, there's nothing wrong with us. I hear people say all the time, I'm so broken. And I'm like, hell, we're all a little bent. We're not broken. We're not. We have the resilience to bend back, bounce back, whatever. But it depends on how much of that, when we're bent over, depends on how much of that past crap we're ready to let go of. Because the more you let out of that backpack, the more you come back, the more resilient you are. And when we start being accountable for ourselves, then other people can't betray us. Truthfully, they can do some pretty crappy things. Mm-hmm. But if we're not taking that personal and we allow them to be accountable for their actions, and, say for instance, you're in a relationship, and you're with someone that cheats on you. You have a choice. You can work towards mending that, or you can work towards leaving that. Now, how you show up is just as important as how this other person shows up. Now, I understand there's a lot of factors that factor in. Sometimes there's financial, there's kids, there's all this stuff, but we're peeling this onion back to just the basic responsibilities of, how we show up. So are we going to say, oh, this person has betrayed me now? Oh my gosh, they've hurt me so bad. What will I ever do? Everybody hurts me. What am I going to do? I guess I'm just going to stay with them and I'm going to try to fix them. Because if I fix them, then they won't betray me. Yes, they will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how about not betraying yourself? Is this relationship working? Look at the reasons why. It's not the betrayal that was the issue. It's all the other crap that led up to the betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in betrayal. Again, we as individuals do so much self-bullying so much.
Yeah.
We do so much self-bullying, we do so much self-betrayal. And it is, I posted something on Instagram earlier this week. It is silently diabolical to us. And then we show up with intention of, helping others, but we haven't helped ourselves. We haven't been accountable to those things. So self-betrayal is a big one.
Yeah, it really truly is. One of the most puzzling questions I ever had in a session before I met you was, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't answer the question. And I promised myself then I would never spend another day not knowing what I want, because if you don't know what you want, you never know what you'll get. You are not in control of anything. But if you know what you want, if you know that you want Mexican food, you're not going to go to the Chinese restaurant to get it. You know where to go. If you know that you want a end of people I want in my life, I want this, 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 and this. I'm not talking about perfection. I mean, I'm talking the people that you want to attract. That's where you start getting your own trust, because you have ordered those from our creator. You have put that list together and you go, I no longer want someone who will lie to my face and I will believe it. I do no longer want someone who will hurt me, raise their voice at me, someone who will suck the living life out of me. I want this. And positively put your list appear. It may not appear tomorrow.
Well, and when it does appear, in between that, declaration of what you're wanting in your life, what you're willing to allow in your life, got to be doing the work to make sure that you're ready to have it. Because I can't tell you how many times, people will say, well, I just want someone who just loves me and thinks I'm the best thing in the world. And they draw that person in. And then they're like, well, they say they love me, but I don't believe them. What? You just created this environment, and now you're going to give this person a hard time. And what happens is after, but I do want to be with you. I love you. I love you. I love you. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're beautiful. No, I'm not. In this constant, eventually you're going to wear that person down. Yes. And that person's going to be like, I'm done. And then it's going to be, see, I told you you didn't love me. That is self-betrayal.
Well, this is a lot to carry on. I always say that when you have the list, make sure that you're all those things on that list to someone as well.
And when you have a list and you're making a list of the things that you love and the things that you want to attract into your life and the things, all the goodness, make sure you're at the top of it.
Ooh, that's good.
Make sure that you are at the top of that list. That when you do your trickle down love, make sure that you're at the top of that list, that you love yourself and that you know that you are worthy of love, deserving of love, able to receive love, and most importantly, able to give love.
All good stuff. Well, if you want to reach me, devonoday@gmail.com. And of course, Teri is here at Transcending Turbulence, and continue that. Where can they find you?
TeriPugh.com. TeriPugh.com. That's got email and phone there. So
we're here every week, launch date, noon on Wednesdays, to launch into a new you. It's heavy lifting for a lighter spirit. So you guys have a great day. Bye.
Increase in peace.